Question is, if when you die, right, you find yourself in a place of judgment in front of God, and it ends up being the case that all those pesky Christians were right all along, what would your first statement be to God? If you could choose anything to say to God at that point, what would it be?
It must be very hard for you to understand just how unrealistic that proposition seems to me. I couldn't be more amazed if I woke up in the world of Narnia. But let's just say that after enduring whatever ordeal led to the circumstance of my death, suddenly I find myself in front of the Christian God, accused and condemned by my unbelief. Imagine my surprise, utter astonishment, how totally unexpected. I'm sure I would be completely dumbfounded. I sincerely doubt I'd be able to say anything at all, really. It wouldn't do me much good now, anyway, would it? But since you, a Christian, are asking me, an atheist, this question, I can't help wondering what you as a Christian would say if on waking from death you face the awesome countenance of Lord Vishnu or of Allah. What if every god that people have ever worshipped turned out to be true? Or it turned out that the one true God is not like any that humanity has ever worshipped?
The second question is, again, something that you've all probably been asked quite a bit, but I want to have my shot at asking it too, okay? What sort of evidence would you find sufficient for you to abandon atheism and become a believer in God?
There would have to have been a whole preponderance of facts and observations supported by reason and experiment that leads to the single conclusion that everything in the universe was deliberately and individually made. All revelations from the Maker would be unambiguous and universal. However, discoveries in the physical and life sciences have only found evidence of a natural universe, and comparisons between religious claims into the existence and nature of God are at variance with one another. Clearly, all current evidence would have to be reversed. For example, thousands of years ago, when humans were still primitive and isolated by then insurmountable natural barriers, had God thought to send a prophet to every continent, delivering his message to all the people in the world at the same time, so that when we came to know our neighbours in distant lands, we would find each to possess a holy book in their own language and containing scripture identical in every way to the one so familiar to ourselves. I think that would have been very convincing.
Third, do you think the new atheist movement is ultimately a good thing or a bad thing for free thinkers and skeptics? I define the new atheist movement to be something like the following. The new trend of removing respect from religion in conversations, the sort of attitude that one finds in a Richard Dawkins or a Christopher Hitchens, where anti-theism starts to pop its head up a bit more. Do you think that sort of thing is ultimately good?
Well, atheists by definition are never going to be particularly well disposed towards religion. True, Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens both have strong opinions and a very forthright style of delivery. Are they any more irreverent than past atheists? I don't think so. Still, if their boldness does encourage others to express their own doubts about faith, and gives them the confidence to challenge received wisdom, then yes, on balance, I think it's a very good thing.
Fourth, what sorts of decisions are affected by your atheism?
None that I can think of. Not directly, at least. There's no ideological stance that's particularly atheist, no manifesto or atheist creed that I know of, or follow. I suppose the only choice that could be applied to my unbelief is that I never adopted the practice of religion, which means, of course, that I rely on my own moral compass. I find it mostly adequate, thank you. Only very occasional feedback needed from others to keep it well calibrated. I choose my friends only because of their qualities as people, unprejudiced by their gender, sexual orientation, ethnicity, marital status, or even their religion. There are no doctrinal constraints on the types of food I eat or clothes I wear. Finally, I'm able to entertain all sorts of ideas without necessarily agreeing with them or adopting them as my own.
What's more important, acquiring as many true beliefs as possible, or not acquiring as many false beliefs as possible?
Neither, really. You see, people believe all sorts of things. A person may truly believe things that are quite wrong. In that sense, I don't think it's correct to categorize beliefs as being either true or false. Beliefs are simply what we have about the things we hold to be true. I don't want to believe wrong things, so for me, it's all about ensuring that the things I take to be true are indeed actually true. I want to acquire knowledge about the world rather than beliefs.